This is Evan Mark Katz, dating and relationship coach for smart, strong, successful women. Um, I decided to go live today. I never do this, but I figured it would be fun. I got a new shirt I wanted to show off, and there's something in the news that's going on which I just think is relevant, and a lot of people are talking about it, and that is the engagement of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. I'm not that into celebrity gossip, but it's big news, so I figures this is a good opportunity to talk about something that a lot of people are talking about it, but they're not talking about it the way that I want to talk about it. I got interviewed yesterday by a reporter, and her question was, "What does this mean? What is it? What does this all mean? Isn't this great news for smart, strong, successful women? Doesn't this show that men are not intimidated by powerful women? Isn't this great hope?" And I'm happy for Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, but my first reaction is you can't extrapolate anything from this engagement. No matter how hard we try, you can't, because she's a billionaire and he is 6'5", 260 pounds, and worth $200 million himself. So how does this filter down to regular folks? I'm not sure it does in any meaningful way. I think humans are really unique in that we are always trying to make meaning of things. We see what goes out in the world, and we have to tell a story and create a narrative around it. And I don't know that there's a narrative. About 2 years ago, when this first became public, I wrote an article for Substack about why Travis and Taylor were not going to last. And so from that perspective, my take would not have aged well, because here they are getting engaged, and I'm glad to be wrong on that. But here's the thing, this is the beginning of their life together. This is the beginning. So I think it's wonderful that they're in this position, and if I were a betting person, I still wouldn't bet on them. Not because there's anything inherently wrong with either of them that I could see from the outside, but because most relationships don't last. Most celebrity relationships definitely don't last. And so what are we really faced with here? We're faced with a story of a couple that, we look at as if there's some sort of avatar that we could put our hopes into, when really they're anomalous. I mean, I can't think of too many people like them. If you look at other big celebrity couples like that, who are we talking about? We're talking about, Bill and Hillary Clinton, and Beyonce and Jay-Z, Kanye and Kim. These couples didn't really turn out to be the relationship that you want to emulate, right? They're more business arrangements than romantic partners. So I have no reason to think that there's anything cynical about this, that this is just stage managed PR. I also don't think that it says anything about anything that is relevant to you watching this right now. I guess you could try to spin some sort of narrative about smart, strong, successful women who are not intimidating men. And indeed, if that's the thing that gives you hope, that's fine. We're dealing with this on a more micro level. You should never be with a guy who is intimidated by you because of your education or your income. That is true. Any guy who's intimidated by you is not right for you. But by the same token, Travis Kelce, it was fine before Taylor Swift came along. Right? If we go to that, like, we're treating it like, oh my God, this guy who worships this princess, Travis Kelce had a ton of options before Taylor Swift. So it's not that he outkicked his coverage because she's, more famous than he is. Ultimately, the smartest take I heard on this was from someone who's on Substack, who just said, I think this is a really logical pairing. I think if anything, it shows that, if Taylor Swift considers herself the English teacher and he's the gym teacher, it shows that polarity matters. In this relationship, he can be the masculine one, and he could be the more grounded one, and she could be the person who's more in her head. She didn't need to date another intellectual, which is not casting aspersions on Travis Kelce. I think there's always someone in the relationship who's a little bit more intellectual, and there's probably someone who's a little calmer and more easygoing. And that's good balance. That's polarity. Certainly in my relationship, my wife is the easygoing one, and I'm really grateful for that. So I think the real way to look at this, if you are following this narrative from home, is to say, hey, maybe finding someone who, if you're a woman and you're not a billionaire, maybe finding someone who makes less money than I do is okay. Maybe finding someone who is not as intellectual as I am is okay. Maybe finding someone who brings a different dynamic to the relationship is okay. Relationships are ultimately about compatibility. And compatibility is not what we call it. And compatibility is about how well the system works, how well you get along, how easy the relationship is. It's not similarity. So let's strike that from your lexicon. Compatibility is not, I am spiritual but not religious, he should be spiritual but not religious. I like hiking, he should like hiking. I have a master's degree, he should have a master's degree. That is not compatibility, that is similarity. Compatibility is it easy? Is your relationship working? You get along 95% of the time, and another 5% you get to the other side of it because you love each other and you're willing to make those small compromises to make a relationship work? Do you put each other's needs first? Do you listen and validate each other? So I don't know anything about these individuals or their relationship or how happy they are or whether they're going to endure. I hope for their sake they do. It's certainly hard when you're in the public eye. It's certainly hard when you travel a lot and you can't spend as much time together. But the more important thing for you listening is not whether Travis and Kelce, Travis and Taylor make it. The more important point is whether you are making decisions that are consistent with your own long-term goals, and you can learn from that in some way that's applicable to your own life. I do find it fascinating, the parasocial relationship we have with celebrities and how we put them on a pedestal. Years ago, I remember there was a client of mine who was fascinated with Kim Kardashian and looked at her life in Calabasas as the life she wanted to live. I live in Calabasas. We go to the school district. I live just outside Calabasas, and where our kids go to the Calabasas schools. And God, would you want to live that life? I wouldn't want to live that life in the public eye, right? Wondering what it looks like to everybody else in the world, everybody wanting a piece of you. Gosh, I think fame messes people up. I think fortune messes people up, which is why sometimes the higher you get on that food chain, I don't see that many happy billionaires or Mrs. Billionaires. There's not a great track record for that. So, I don't know. I usually don't do Facebook Lives. There's probably a reason for that, as you're telling. But I've got someone in my office fixing my computer, so I just needed to get the hell outside. Anyway, I'm gonna see if we have comments. Oh, there's my guy, Launch Mash. Thank you for commenting. He's a reliable watcher, and he's always good for an insightful comment after every Love You podcast. So thank you for following. I'm going to go because my left arm is getting tired, and I look forward to seeing you again. Maybe not live, but certainly on the next Love You podcast, which should drop next Monday night. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.